If you have a teenager at home, you've probably seen it. They walk out the door one person and come home someone slightly different. Different slang, different vibe, different music, sometimes even a different laugh. Today, we're talking about what I call the teen chameleon, that shape-shifting way teens adapt to fit in. And we're going to zoom in on multicultural teens, because for them, the pressure to blend can come from every direction at once. And let's say it out loud. This can freak parents out. You look at your kid and think, who are you becoming? Are you okay? Are you being true to yourself? Or are you disappearing to get approval? Exactly. And the goal of this episode is not to villainize change. Teens are supposed to change. The question is, when is the chameleon thing healthy exploration? And when is it a sign they're losing their sense of self? We'll also give you practical ways to help your teen feel secure enough to belong without having to perform. And yes, we're bringing in a few expert perspectives and some real-life examples you'll recognize immediately. Let's start with a picture. Imagine a teen named Samira. At home, she speaks a mix of languages with her family. She eats the foods her grandparents cook. She's affectionate. Then at school, she tightens up. She speaks only English. She laughs differently. She downplays anything that might mark her as too different. And then, with a different friend group, she suddenly becomes extra outspoken, like she's proving she's fearless. And if you're her parent, you might get whiplash, because you're seeing multiple versions of your kid, and you're wondering which one is real. Here's the first big reframe. Those versions can all be real. They're parts. Teens are trying on identities the way little kids try on costumes, except now it has social consequences. The stakes are higher. Developmentally, this makes sense. Psychologists talk about adolescence as a time of identity formation. The brain is basically running a constant experiment. What happens if I act like this? Do I get accepted? Do I get rejected? Do I feel powerful? Do I feel safe? And the acceptance piece isn't optional. Humans are wired for belonging. One of the simplest ways to think about the teen chameleon is this. Your teen's brain is prioritizing social survival. Belonging can feel as essential as breathing. This is where I love a line often attributed to Dr. Gabor Mate. The deepest human need is the need to belong. Whether or not someone has heard that quote, parents feel it in their bones when their teen is desperate to fit in. Now, let's talk about why multicultural teens can end up in an even more intense version of this. Because it's not only friend groups. It's culture, race, language, accent, hair, clothing, and the unspoken rules of multiple worlds. There's this constant code switching. And code switching can be a skill, like being bilingual socially, but it can also become exhausting if it comes from fear or shame. Let's give a few examples that might hit home. Example 1. A teen boy who's black at school in a mostly white community. He may soften his voice, change his vocabulary, and keep his hands still because he's learned that being perceived as too much can lead to punishment or suspicion. Example 2. A Latina teen who loves her family's traditions, but stops bringing the lunches her mom packs because kids make comments about the smell. So she starts skipping lunch or buying something else, not because she hates her culture, but because she hates being singled out. Example 3. An Asian American teen who is perceived as the smart one, so he pretends he didn't study. He deliberately underperforms socially. He becomes the class clown in one group to prove he's not a stereotype. While at home, he's carrying the pressure to be the responsible, high-achieving kid. So when we say teen chameleon, we're not just talking about fashion changes. Sometimes it's a survival strategy in systems that reward sameness and punish difference. Now, parents often ask, is my teen being fake? I want to answer that carefully. Sometimes teens are performing, but the deeper issue is usually not dishonesty. It's safety. It's belonging. It's, if I show the real me, will I still be loved? And this is where a lot of parent-child conflict starts. Parents want authenticity. Teens want acceptance. Then parents push, just be yourself. And teens think that's easy for you to say, because you're not the one sitting at that lunch table. I want to pause on that phrase. Just be yourself. It sounds empowering, but for teens it can land like pressure. because they might be thinking, I'm not even sure who myself is yet. Plus, if being yourself gets you bullied, excluded, stereotyped, or misunderstood, then that advice feels like telling them to walk into a storm without an umbrella. So what do effective parents do instead? They help teens build a sturdy core, not a rigid identity, but a stable sense of, I know what matters to me, even if I adapt on the outside. Let's talk about how to recognize the difference between healthy adaptation and self-erasure. Here are a few signals. Healthy adaptation looks like your teen can shift behavior depending on the setting, but they don't hate themselves afterward. They might say, yeah, I act a little different with them, but they can still come home and relax. They're not constantly ashamed. Self-erasure looks like your teen is anxious all the time about being found out. They're devastated by minor social feedback. They describe themselves in harsh terms. They avoid anything associated with their background, or they come home exhausted and irritable because they've been masking all day. Another clue is whether there's room for complexity. If your teen says, I feel like I have to choose, I can't be both, that's a red flag, especially for multicultural teens who may feel forced into a single box. And if you're wondering whether this is just normal teen stuff or something more serious, pay attention to functioning. Are sleep, appetite, grades, friendships, and mood taking a hit? Is there withdrawal? Is there a sudden drop in interest in things they used to love? Now, we promised expert perspective, so let's bring in a couple of widely used parenting ideas. One comes from Dr. Dan Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson, who often emphasize a core principle: connect and redirect. The idea is that connection comes first. You can't coach your teen into authenticity if they don't feel emotionally safe with you. So instead of interrogating them like a detective, you start with connection. It seems like school has been a lot lately. Want to tell me what's been going on? Not, why are you acting like a different person? Another concept comes from Dr. John Gottman's work on emotion coaching. The basic posture is, emotions are not problems to fix. They're signals to understand. So if your teen is upset because they feel they don't fit in, your job isn't to lecture them into confidence. Your job is to validate the feeling and help them find choices. Let's make that concrete. Suppose your teen says, I hate my name. I'm going to use a different one at school. That can sting. Parents can hear that as rejection. Yes, but try an emotion coaching approach. You might say, I'm hearing that using your name at school feels uncomfortable. What happens when people say it? Do they mispronounce it? Do they make comments? Now you've opened a door instead of slamming one. And then you can get curious about what they want. Do they want an easier nickname? Do they want help practicing a response? Do they want you to talk to the school? There are many ways to support without shaming them. Let's go deeper into the multicultural layer, because parents sometimes unintentionally increase the pressure. For instance, if home becomes a place where the teen is constantly corrected or compared, they may start thinking, I'm failing everywhere. Not enough at school, not enough at home. So here's a helpful question for parents to ask themselves. Is my home the one place my teen can stop performing? Because if your teen has to code switch at school and then code switch again at home to avoid criticism, they're going to burn out. And burnout often shows up as attitude, shutdown, or sudden anger. Okay, let's pivot to what parents can actually do this week. Practical, not fluffy. Tool number 1. Name the phenomenon without accusing. You can say, I've noticed you have different sides in different places. That seems normal for being a teen, but I want you to know you don't have to earn your spot in this family. You belong here, full stop. That sentence, you don't have to earn your spot here, is incredibly regulating. It tells their nervous system, there is at least one place I'm safe. Tool number 2. Ask identity-building questions that aren't loaded. Instead of, why are you like this now? Try, what version of you feels easiest lately? Or, who do you feel most yourself around? And if they say, no one, that's not the end of the conversation. That's the beginning. You can respond with, that sounds lonely. When did it start feeling that way? Tool number 3. Create a family language for values, not labels. Labels can get teens stuck. Values help them steer. Values sound like, in our family, we try to be kind, we tell the truth, we take responsibility, we respect our elders, we protect the vulnerable, whatever fits your home. Then when they're navigating peer pressure, you're not saying, that's not you. You're saying, does that choice match your values? That helps them build an internal compass. Tool number 4. Teach them the difference between privacy and secrecy. Teens deserve privacy, but secrecy can be a sign of fear or unsafe dynamics. You can say, you don't have to tell me everything, but I don't want you to feel alone with big stuff. Tool number 5. Normalize code switching as a skill, then check the emotional cost. You might say, it's impressive how you can move between worlds. Does it ever feel tiring? If they say yes, you can follow with, what's the hardest part? Is it the language, the jokes, the way you dress, the assumptions people make? This invites depth. Now, let's talk about a delicate one. When parents feel like their teen is rejecting their culture, maybe your teen won't speak the home language. Maybe they hate cultural clothes. Maybe they roll their eyes at traditions. First, don't panic. Second, don't turn it into a loyalty test. If you say, so you're ashamed of US, you might be accidentally turning a social survival strategy into a family war. Try a softer entry. I notice it's been hard for you to do that lately. Is it because of something at school? Did someone say something? You're aiming for understanding, and you can share your feelings without dumping them. Like, I'll be honest, I feel sad when we don't share that part together, but I want to understand what it's like for you. That's honest and not guilt-inducing. Let's add a quick example parents can borrow. Teen says, I'm not bringing that food. It's embarrassing. A parent might respond, I get that you don't want attention on you at lunch. What if we come up with a few options together that still feel like us, but don't make you a target? Now you're on the same team. You're not making the teen choose between identity and safety. Another example. Teen says, don't come to school events. You look too. And they trail off. Ouch. Ouch is right, but you can still respond wisely. It sounds like you're worried about standing out. Tell me what you're afraid people will say. Let's talk about whether there's a way I can show up that helps you feel supported, not spotlighted. Because sometimes the teen does want you there. They just don't want the social consequences. Let's talk about the big fear underneath all this. Parents worry that if they don't shut down the chameleon behavior, their teen will become inauthentic permanently. But most teens aren't trying to be fake. They're trying to be accepted while they figure out who they are. If the home environment is secure, they tend to come back to themselves over time. I like a concept that shows up in a lot of trauma-informed parenting spaces. Behavior is communication. When your teen is shifting, hiding, mirroring, or overcompensating, they might be communicating, I don't feel safe being fully seen. So the antidote isn't control. It's relationship. It's a steady message. You can be seen here and you'll still be loved. Now, we should also discuss when it's time to bring in more support. If your teen is showing signs of depression, self-harm, intense anxiety, disordered eating, or chronic social withdrawal, it's not enough to just have talks at home. Getting a culturally competent therapist can be incredibly helpful. And culturally competent matters because a teen who's navigating identity across cultures needs someone who understands that the problem isn't simply self-esteem. Sometimes it's discrimination, microaggressions, or the tug-of-war between family expectations and peer culture. Let's close with a few lines you can keep in your pocket. Things you can say that build a teen's inner foundation. 1. You don't have to shrink to be liked. 2. You're allowed to belong in more than one world. 3. If you're ever pretending to be okay, you can stop pretending with me. 4. I'm more interested in understanding you than controlling you. And 5, a big one. I'm on your side, even when we're figuring it out. If this episode made you think of a parent friend who's confused by their teen's sudden transformations, share it. Because so many families assume they're the only ones living with a teen chameleon. And if you're that parent right now, take this with you. Your teen shifting doesn't automatically mean they're losing themselves. It might mean they're trying to survive a complicated social world. Your job is to be the home base where they can come back, rest, and remember who they are. Next time, we'll talk about how social media accelerates identity shifting, especially for teens juggling multiple communities online and offline. Until then, keep the connection strong and the curiosity louder than the fear.